Welcome to episode 60, Final Exam Tips and Next Steps in Your Azure Journey. You have spent this course building knowledge, understanding core principles, and learning how Azure works in the real world. Now it's time to apply that preparation calmly and confidently on exam day. The final stretch is not about cramming. It's about clarity, composure, and trust in the habits you've built. The Azure Fundamentals exam measures understanding, not memorization. You already know the material. Your focus now is pacing, precision, and presence of mind. Treat exam day like a checkpoint, not a finish line, and remember that every concept you've learned is a skill you can use long after the test itself. Begin with a simple checklist that grounds you before you even start. Confirm your identification documents, exam confirmation email, and test time. If you're testing remotely, run the system check early and clear your workspace of phones, papers, and distractions. For in-person testing, arrive early enough to settle before check-in begins. Set up your environment for comfort. Lighting, seating, and temperature affect focus more than you expect. Have water nearby if permitted, and silence all notifications. These small steps prevent avoidable stress later. A prepared environment signals to your brain that this is familiar, controlled territory, helping you begin calm and ready. Managing time is one of the most important skills during the exam. Start with a quick scan of the first few questions to gauge difficulty. Move steadily, spending more time on scenario-based items and less on straightforward definitions. If a question feels heavy or unclear, flag it and keep moving. Each question carries equal weight, so maximize your score by banking all the ones you can answer confidently before tackling the tougher ones. A simple rule of thumb: 1 minute per question, then circle back. The goal is not to finish faster. It's to stay balanced, ensuring every concept you know gets the credit it deserves. Use triage techniques wisely. Flag, skip, and revisit smartly. Azure exams often include scenario clusters that build on a shared setup. Answer what's clear first, then return for deeper analysis when your mind has warmed up. For multiple choice questions, flag only those where you have genuine uncertainty. Otherwise, commit and move on. Time saved from overanalyzing early questions buys breathing room for complex cases later. When you return to flagged items, reread slowly. Fresh eyes often spot what rushed reading missed the first time. Treat flags as opportunities, not failures. They mark places where a calm second look can convert doubt into a correct answer. Read each question carefully and pay attention to absolute qualifiers like always, never, only, or must. In certification exams, such words often signal traps. Azure services are flexible. Very few rules are absolute. Focus on intent, what the question is really testing. Look for clues in phrasing, such as best option or most cost-effective, which narrow the frame to practical reasoning rather than theory. Break longer scenario questions into sentences and underline key elements: service type, location, scale, and compliance hints. Slow reading may feel costly, but comprehension prevents avoidable errors that come from speed over clarity. Eliminate distractors methodically. For every multiple choice item, identify which answers are technically wrong or irrelevant before comparing the plausible ones. Most questions contain one or two distractors that use the right words in the wrong context. Recognize them by matching service purpose to the scenario. If two options look correct, weigh them by scope: global versus regional, managed versus manual, or preventive versus reactive. The best answer will align with Azure principles of efficiency, governance, and shared responsibility. Narrowing options reduces mental load, helping you focus on reasoning rather than memorization. Logical elimination is often the hidden key to passing comfortably. Apply the shared responsibility model correctly. It appears in more questions than any other single framework. Remember that Microsoft manages the physical infrastructure, networking, and foundational security of the platform, while customers manage their own data, identities, configurations, and access controls. The dividing line shifts slightly between infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, but the principle stays the same. The more Microsoft manages, the less you control. Exam scenarios often test where accountability lies when something goes wrong. Think of it as a seesaw. Balance changes with service type, but both parties always share responsibility for protection. When scenario questions describe architectures, visualize them mentally. Sketching may not be allowed during the exam, but mental mapping works the same way. Picture regions, subnets, and dependencies as you read. For example, if a question mentions a web app accessing storage, recall whether communication should use a private endpoint or service endpoint. Imagine the flow of data, the layers of access, and which Azure services form each boundary. Visualization helps reveal missing or conflicting details and makes complex problems concrete. The clearer your mental diagram, the quicker you can test each possible answer against it. Use breaks, breathing, and resets to stay composed. If your exam allows scheduled or unscheduled breaks, take them intentionally, not impulsively. Pause briefly to stretch or refocus after long question blocks. Deep breathing, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, lowers heart rate and improves recall. A mental reset can also mean recentering between sections, reminding yourself that each question stands alone. Fatigue often creates false panic, making known information seem unreachable. Small pauses keep perspective intact and prevent a single tough item from coloring your confidence for the rest of the test. Avoid second-guessing correct instincts unless new information appears. Overanalysis is one of the top reasons candidates change right answers to wrong ones. If your first response came from clear recall of a fact or concept, trust it. Only revisit answers when your reasoning was uncertain the first time or you spot a concrete contradiction. Confidence is not arrogance. It's recognition that your preparation has built accurate intuition. Let your practice logic guide you and keep decisions consistent with what you studied. Exams reward clarity, not perfectionism. After the exam, review your results and plan your next steps promptly. If you pass, take time to celebrate the achievement. It marks a milestone in your professional growth. Download your score report and note which areas were strongest and which could use reinforcement. If you need another attempt, treat it as feedback, not failure. Focus study time on weaker domains and reframe the experience as valuable diagnostic data. Either way, you leave with greater understanding of Azure fundamentals than when you started. Every exam outcome adds to your operational confidence. Planning your learning path beyond fundamentals keeps momentum alive. The AZ900 certification is a foundation. From here, you can branch into administrator, developer, or security tracks depending on your career goals. If governance and operations appeal to you, AZ104 and AZ500 are natural progressions. If you prefer data, AI, or development, explore the corresponding associate-level paths. Continue applying the study rhythm that worked here: structured outlines, practice questions, and concept explanations out loud. The deeper you go, the more these fundamentals serve as anchors for advanced understanding. Celebrate your progress and document what worked. Capture notes on your study methods, flashcard strategies, or time management techniques while they're fresh. Share tips with peers or online study groups. You'll reinforce your knowledge while helping others. Reward yourself, even modestly, for finishing a demanding process. Milestones matter because they transform effort into visible accomplishment. Every certification represents persistence, curiosity, and applied discipline, all traits that carry far beyond Azure. Operating confidently in Azure means recognizing this exam not as the end, but as the beginning of fluency. You've built the vocabulary, grasped the principles, and learned to translate requirements into architecture. From here, your challenge shifts from theory to practice, deploying real workloads, solving real problems, and exploring new services as they emerge. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and trust the process that brought you this far. The cloud evolves daily, but your foundation will keep pace. Congratulations, you've completed your journey through Azure Fundamentals, and your next chapter starts now.